Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Las Vegas. It's wonderful to be together both virtually and in person. My name is Nina, your worship associate today, and I use she, her pronouns. Our worship leader is Mark, and he uses he, him pronouns. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, and whatever you believe about life's journey, you are warmly welcomed here. We broadcast a video feed for our virtual attendees. If you wish to not be recorded, please sit toward the sides or back of the sanctuary. Today, during our Of Our Hearts ritual, we will read the name of anyone written in the book or in the chat. When we come together, we get to practice creating inclusive and worshipful spaces. For those in the sanctuary, we encourage you to wear a name tag that includes your pronouns. And for those in our virtual space, please edit your name to include your pronouns. Now please silence your cell phones and refrain from using the chat on Zoom. Please also move in ways that your body needs. It's okay if you need to wiggle, stand up, sleep, color, play with Legos, or fidget during our service today. All bodies are welcome. We're glad that you're here. Before we ring the bell, please take a moment to greet all present who make this space sacred. You can say good morning, hello, wave, or just acknowledge each other's presence. Good morning.
The Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Las Vegas is situated on the traditional homelands of the Nuuvi, Southern Paiute people. We are grateful for the land itself, for those who have stewarded it for generations, and for the opportunity to worship, learn, work, grow, and be in community with this land and her peoples. We encourage everyone present here to engage in the continued learning about the indigenous peoples who continue to live and work on this land, including the Las Vegas Paiute tribe and the Moapa Band of Paiutes, and about the historical and present realities of colonialism. It is important to recognize and appreciate the use of Southern Paiute land as part of our mission to become a welcoming and inclusive congregation for worship, spiritual enrichment, and exploration.
When we gather together, we light the chalice, a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith. The chalice reminds us that we are connected to a much larger religious tradition that stretches out of the past, reaches around the world, and leads into our shared future. And now join with me. Join
with me in
the reading of the words on the screen for this morning's chalice, lighting
entitled Why We're Here.
Entitled Why We're Here by Rev. Eric Walker Wickstrom.
Here, today, in this place, and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light our way.
Welcome to this place where certainty transforms to questions. The place that takes us, what is and imagines what can be. Welcome to this space where what is fixed begins to shift, where rigidity embraces unfolding as we join in the dance of transformation. Welcome to this moment of change where together we transfigure and transcend together. Now please rise and body your spirit to sing our opening hymn, I Know This Road's Well Open. And we will sing it 3 times today.
It's me. How excellent. Good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to tell you a story, and I could use a little bit of help up here. So if there is anyone who wouldn't mind coming up to the front to play a small part, I promise you it is very easy, and I will let you know what to do. But ideally, just one? No one else? Come up, please, please. I could use some help. Excellent. So this is a story that comes from Poland, from the region where my family originally came from. And yes, excellent.
We did not arrange this.
No, I love it. So once there was a farmer, and he lived in a house with his spouse and his children, many children, and it was a noisy place, as it often is when one has a lot of family. And they soon got word that they were going to be visited by their grandparents, and that these grandparents were going to be coming for an extended amount of time, and so they were going to be bringing a lot of stuff. And so the grandparents came into the house, and the farmer goes, "Ugh, it is even noisier than it was before. What am I going to do?" And so he went to visit the very wise rabbi. And he says, Rabbi, what do I do? The house is so noisy, I can't think. And the rabbi said, well, do you, as a farmer, happen to have any chickens? Do we have any chickens? Chick, chick, chick. The rabbi said, please bring your chickens inside the house. And so the farmer brought the chickens inside the house. And the chickens were flapping and jumping and making an incredible amount of noise. And the farmer said, this can't be right. This is worse than before. And so he went back to the rabbi and said, Rabbi, you are so wise, but what do I do? It is so noisy. And the rabbi said, do you have any goats? And he said, oh, I do have some goats. And he said, great, move them into your house. And so the goats came in with the chickens. And the farmer said, my goodness, this does not seem any better than it was before. It is so noisy, I can't even sleep at night. So he went back to the rabbi and he said, Rabbi, you've got to have a better solution than this. Please, I can't. And the rabbi said, oh, do you happen to have a cow or two? And he said, I in fact do. I have a couple of cows. Why? And the rabbi said, well, could you bring them into your house with you? And he said, are you sure? And he said, absolutely. This is going to be the solution to your problems. And so the farmer brought the cows inside the house. And so we had chickens and goats and cows and children and grandparents. And he said, what is going on? I cannot possibly sleep. I cannot think. I cannot work. What are we going to do? And so he went back to the rabbi. He said, Rabbi, I'm about to call it quits. You got to help me out. And the rabbi said, how about you move your cows and chicken and goats back into the barn? And so the farmer moved all the animals back into the barn and had left the grandparents and the children, and the house was quiet and peaceful, just as it had once been before. Thank you very much, and thank you to all our participants.
Thank you, Rory. That was beyond perfect. Now we have to ground ourselves. In the present, honor the thread of humanity that connects us as living beings. If you have someone you would like held up, please add their name to the chat or write it in the book that will appear up here momentarily. As humans striving for beloved community, we have the privilege and responsibility to hold each other as we live our joys and sorrows of life. We take this sacred time to acknowledge the people we hold in our hearts, that in sharing our triumph and joy may be multiplied, and our pain and sorrow may lessen their sting. We will now partake in a common UU ritual of marking our joys and sorrows by dropping a pebble in the water from a common source. This pebble signifies a lightness or burden on your heart. The water they shed together represents a love and strength of our community to surround, support, and celebrate you. Today is a silent ritual. If you have a name lift up, please write it in the book. We will read those names during the service. There is also a small bowl of lighted, scented eucalyptus oil if you would like to seal the practice by anointing yourself. If you'd like to participate, please come forward. All are welcome. Nina will now drop a pebble into the bowl for those who are participating remotely, and a second pebble for those who wish to do so anonymously. We hold you too in our hearts. Know that as a religious community, we have a group of volunteers who can provide pastoral care, such as providing occasional rides, phone call checkups, and much more. If you need assistance, reach out to them at uuclvcares@gmail.com. Today we hold up Madonna Pence, Dan Tausig, Chandra Damat, Alicia Brown, the Mara family. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading last week's. I'm having one of those days, sorry. Connie Chen and family, Claudia Kuzniak, Sally Kabodian, Ann Sustick, Dan Tausig, Madonna Pence, George Early, Arable Tetlow, the Mara family, Avery. Irma, is there anyone in the chat?
George Urban.
May we hold all those that were spoken and all those that were kept in silence in our hearts in love and compassion. Today's pastoral prayer is called a prayer of co-creation by Reverend Lynn Cox. The sun rises between two green hills. In the foreground, circles of stone and earth radiate outward from a stone center. Creative Spirit, source of life and love, we give thanks for the beauty of this day and for the company of those assembled here. Thank you for the breezes of change, clearing our heads and bringing fresh ideas. May they cleanse our minds of the oppressions and isms that divide us. Thank you for the flame of hope, the heat of righteous anger, the warmth of compassion, and the fire of commitment. May they bubble the cauldrons of transformation. Thank you for the oceans of love, river of connection, tears of relief, and pools of serenity. May healing waters flow over us and through us and among us, wearing down the sharp rocks of despair to bring joy in the morning. Thank you for the good earth beneath us, around us, and within us. May we take this clay and co-create a new realm of justice and beauty. Thank you for all these and more. We accept your gifts and commit to building, sculpting, painting, singing, and dancing them to life, to abundant life. So be it, Blessed be. Amen.
The reading today is from a book called The Necessity of Discomfort by Ruth Mackenzie. Recently, in preparation for my daily practice of mindfulness and prayer, I came across a stunning piece of information. In the book, Awakening, Having the Life You Want to Have by Being Present in the Life That You Have, by the poet Mark Nepo, I learned that a baby chick doesn't just hatch. Well, it does hatch, but in the process of hatching, it's actually experiencing a terrifying event if you look at it from the bird's perspective. In the moments before birth, the small hatchling has eaten all of its food, and its growing body presses against every contour and curve of its shell. There is simply no more room. There is also no more food. The chick hatches because its body is painfully cramped inside the world of the egg, and because it's starving. There is so much discomfort that this chick is driven to peck its way into whatever is on the other side of its world, whatever is on the other side of its safety, because there is literally nothing else to do if it wants to survive. The world of this chick literally breaks apart. The chick eats bits of its own shell, and its body squeezes through the emerging cracks. Hatching for a chick is not graceful. There is wrestling and rolling around. There's crying and prying. There's exhaustion. These baby chicks even take little power naps in the process. There is stumbling and trying to hold its head up while finding its feet and making sure that its feet are below its body. Hatching is not graceful. It is beautiful to behold, but I dare say the chick would not describe it that way. I think the chick would say, hatching is a necessity. As Mark Nepo writes, once everything it has relied on falls away, the chick is born. It doesn't die, but it falls into a new world. We gather as a religious community to give each of us a place where we can together do the work of many. The offering supports the mission of the congregation to be a beacon of love and justice in the desert, and supports local organizations to make our community a better place for all. The offering this month is shared with the Solidarity Fridge and the Little Library. This is a relatively new mutual aid initiative that's committed to strengthening ties in our community. They engage Indigenous food warriors guided by their ancestors and rooted in the work of providing community for all. You can visit, volunteer, or donate to their community pantry, their garden, the Seed Share Initiative, and their free library. Our offering is a spiritual practice of generosity that this congregation does as a whole each week. Please join us as a member or friend in this practice. The link to donate your offering will be in the chat on Zoom if you're joining us virtually, and in the sanctuary, our ushers will pass plates where you can donate. Now, please join with me. With gratitude for the abundance in our own lives, we give for the life of this congregation and the benefit of the larger community.
Thank you for your generous gifts.
Now I am happy to invite our friend Richard to come up and talk about stewardship.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Richard, and I use he, him pronouns. I'm not checking my email. I'm just keeping myself on check because as an academic, I could easily go on for 4 to 6 hours. So I'm going to try not to do that here. I started, as many of us did, I started my religious journey as a young boy. My parents were not religious, but my grandmother made sure that I attended the Catholic Church and said rosary every day. And perhaps like some of you, I was kind of a difficult child. And I had this idea that the world should make sense and should be able to be explained through reason and logic. And you can imagine how that went in catechism. I still remember asking Father Joe, is it 3 gods or 1? 3 or 1? And then, of course, the other kids would then wake up, yeah, is it 3 or 1? So I wasn't very popular. When the bishop would come, Father Joe always sat next to me to make sure I didn't speak up. And then, of course, there was transubstantiation. Oh my gosh. We were, of course, instructed not to bite the communion wafer because, you know, that was the body of Jesus. So, you know, I did it. And so anyway, between all of this and as I got older, I saw a certain disconnect between what was preached and how people lived their lives. And so I just left all that behind, and I thought, you know, I don't really need this religion. And I have to say, I didn't see a whole lot in the world that changed my mind from that. But to paraphrase Descartes, I know what I know. And one of the things that I did come to understand is because of the circumstances of my life and my birth, I had access to a space that others didn't. And it really didn't seem right to me. And so I had to search as an artist to perhaps express and explain things that way. And I did, and this is a talk for another time, I did stumble into the Unitarian Church in Mississippi, of all places, and found a home there. In fact, it was called Our Home, UU Church. And I feel very fortunate to have found this home here in my newly adopted home of Las Vegas. And I have to say, one of my favorite things are our opening words. So whoever had anything to do with that, I say bravo, and it still brings tears to my eyes. It's a wonderful, wonderful sentiment, and it represents maybe not who I am all the time, but who I would like to be, and that's so important. And the other thing I will say, since this is about stewardship, these wonderful institutions that we sometimes stumble across, they're ephemeral. They could go away in an instant. And so I urge everybody to support this wonderful congregation any way that you can. And I see I've already gone 26 seconds over, so thank you.
Thank you, Richard. That was awesome. It's so great to hear the different voices. I'm just going to take a little time here to talk about stewardship from a worship perspective. I've been tracking the time it takes for me to create a service. And I've also asked those to participate to provide some indication of the time they spend. I found it takes about 40 or so collective hours each week to bring you these services. As a worship leader, they can spend over 20 hours just in crafting the service. The associate may need to spend 2 or 3. And the AV folks spend about 4 hours creating the slide deck and handling the AV stuff in the back. The story, probably about 2 hours. And the musicians and song leaders have spent a lifetime learning their craft, but spend about probably a couple of hours a week preparing for the service too. So as you can see, there are many ways to be a steward of this congregation. So thank you all for your service. Now it's time for the gift box. Do we have that gift box song? We'll just...
What's in the gift box? What's in the gift box? What will we find today to help us on our way?
We're still working that out. Hey, what? Oh my gosh! I can tell this is going to be one of those days. Is this all we have? There's more kids in here, aren't there? Come on up. There we go. Come on up. Oh, thank you. All right. So, what do you think it is? I know you guys know what it is, unfortunately. Maybe you can hand somebody back there and see what they think. What do you think it is?
I think it's a picture of baby Jesus.
Okay, could be. Could be. Ow, hey. No clue? What is it? It's seeds. What the heck? Hey, why do we have seeds here? Anybody have an idea why we have seeds?
Because they help us plant foods so then we can stay alive.
That's probably pretty good, yeah. But see, seeds really, they also contain what? The part of the plant, right? So what do the seeds turn into?
Vegetables.
No, wait, hold it. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Here, open up that one. That's number 2. What does number 2 say? These are riddles here. That's okay. There you go. Got it there? Arr. What does it say?
I collect the rays of the sun and change them.
So what do you think they're talking about there? Yep.
People are hungry. People plant seeds, and the sun, and then the people put it in the sun, and then they grow into vegetables. I think it's the leaves.
Leaves, yeah. The seeds transform into the plant. We actually have 4 plants here who would like a home. So after the service, please come up and take one. Okay. There's another one.
We have a lot of them.
And what comes after 2? Not 4. All right. What do you think is going to be that one? Got any ideas? No? Tomatoes. Woo! Can you read it?
I am bright and Leo, don't put that up in my face. I can't see. I can't read that.
Okay.
I'll read it. I'm bright and I.
It's my handwriting.
I'll read it.
I'll read it here.
I
I'm attractive.
Oh, attractive. I am attractive to catch the eye, or I am small, or stringy, or skinny to catch the wind.
What do you think what do you think that's about?
Oh, it's a spider?
No, it's not a spider. What does a plant transform into?
Stem?
Stem.
Flowers?
Flowers, yeah. Can you get me the flowers there? So the seed turns into the plant, and then the plant turns into a flower.
And then the flower.
What does the flower turn to?
Vegetables.
Right. And then go. Yeah. Here, open 4. Yeah. So what does 4 say? You guys got it figured out. And believe it or not, these flowers can go out there too. So you guys are gonna have to help me with that.
I am different. I may be hard, soft, small, or big, dull or bright, but I am always a
Vehicle. Vehicle, a car. Yeah. See. Oh wait, hold it. Let's. It goes that way. It's okay. All right. So what do you think? What do you think I'm talking about there?
Vegetables.
Vegetables, yeah.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes, yeah. See? So the tomato makes a flower. The flower turns into the fruit. Oh, well, okay. You don't like tomatoes, huh? Let's see what else we got. How about that? How about a pepper? We also have, what's on the inside is really cool, because see what they do. The fruit eats this. Oh, shoot. It is one of those days. There's the peppers all cut up. We can hand those out. But then what's in neat is in the inside, look at the seeds. So what you do,
They look like pumpkins.
they kind of look like pumpkins. They're little seeds like that. So, I sit there, eat this, and I'm going to do that. And what happens to those seeds if they land in the right spot? They turn into it. So, what is number 5? We're getting there.
I traveled to beginning again, same but new.
Plant life cycle.
Yep. So we basically describe the plant life cycle. It goes back to the seed. See? So changes happens, but it's all the same.
So you can get the seeds out of the pepper, and
Yep.
then you can plant it
Again, right. All right, guys. You want to share this with the folks in the congregation? Here, wait. And we have flowers. Leo. Here. You want to hand out the flowers? Well, while the kids sit there, hand out the gifts from the gift box. I always like handing out little gifts for everybody. Yesterday, believe it or not, we had our game day, and we had over 30 people there. It was a lot of fun. So next time you see game day, show up. It's a hoot. You don't need to bring a game. There's plenty of games to play. In fact, there was even a Dungeons and Dragons session, too. That was really awesome. I know. All right. Settling is not something we humans are supposed to do, yet we say we hate change. Why is that? Is it because we are afraid of the future and what it holds? Or maybe change hurts us. Maybe we were hurt during a change and we do not want to repeat that. I think it could be any of these, or all of them, or maybe even something else that I didn't think of. Yet change we must, since there is no way around it to avoid the change. No way around to avoid the change. Then it's change that we must go through. There is no other way. We are born, we grow up, live the life that we have, and then we die. All of that involves change. And it is not just a human condition. Transformation is everywhere you look. It occurs on the atomic level, not in the way that the alchemists thought that could happen by changing lead into gold or straw into gold. Transformation is the process of radioactivity. Atoms change from one element to another by their simple emissions of nuclei, electron, positrons, or electromagnetic waves. Change even occurs on the molecular level. Think about metals oxidizing from iron to iron oxide. Or enzymes, like, I can't think of it because my biochemistry just went out of my head. In the cellular bodies that change sugar into energy, and then convert that energy into other cellular processes. What was there before no longer is there now. Yet everything at this level is conserved. Nothing is added and nothing is removed. So change occurs in the properties, yet all the parts and pieces remain the same. Transformation also occurs on the visible scale. All living life follows that similar pattern. If a life cannot grow or change, it may, and usually does, die. And even rocks change. You can see it after the rain in the desert, when it has dumped its loads of rock on that ancient alluvial fan. You can see volcanoes depositing land every day. And beaches, they change every day with the tides. And even the ground underneath us is moving ever so slightly, but it is moving. There is no stasis even on larger scales. Our solar system has bodies that are in constant state of flux. The planets are in constant motion around the sun. Jupiter has not always had that red storm. Mars has its changing polar caps. And as we pan out even onto the larger scales, our Milky Way galaxy and so many others with its collection of uncountable stars all rotate around a center, changing their position ever so slightly. All of this change of the past on both the micro and macro level have led us to this moment right here, right now. We have the opportunity to choose to be the change we want or choose to not change and maintain the status quo. Each and every decision you made in the past up to just now led you to what you see right here. Me talking on from the dais about something that at first glance does not make sense. But when you change your perspective, it does. But some of you will say, things want to be at rest. They do not want to move or change. They just want to be. I will argue that is a perception that you are seeing. Everything in this universe is moving and changing in some way or another. Here is a thought experiment you can try. Put yourself as a passenger in a car, traveling down the road at a constant speed. Your good friend is in another car, out of sight, traveling in the opposite direction, also at a constant speed. Both of you consider yourselves at rest, not moving because nothing is happening to change what you feel. Then in the distance, you see your friend approach, and they see you. Both of you think the other is moving. So who was right? Neither are right, and neither are wrong, because it's all about perspective. We can even take this on a larger scale. Western European humans like to believe that they were the center of the universe, the apex of life. So much so that our early models of the universe that explain the movement of the stars, sun, moon, and planets that scientists and mathematicians of the European day spent over 1,000 years bending themselves over backwards trying to explain that strange movement of the planets in the sky. They did not because they did not know better, but because of their perspective. They considered themselves to be the center of the universe. And the sun, stars, and planets and moon all rotated around terra firma. And believe it or not, that perspective that we are the center of the universe still exists today. Over 500 years, but hold on, don't panic yet. Over 500 years after Copernicus described the sun-centered model. Earth-centered assumptions that the planets and stars rotate around us are used today in celestial navigation. You can't navigate the seas without the stars and the planets and considering yourself as being the center. That's okay, but that's just perspective. I will make the argument that we want to change because change leads us to new places, places that we never thought would would happen or could even imagine. Many of you who are a certain age, me being one of them, thought that making a phone call with your watch would only happen in the comics. Using FaceTime only happened in cartoons about the space-age future. Or flipping a communicator and voice-activate a call, beam me up, was only in science fiction series. I can say that I'm old enough to be one of those, but those three examples have happened and are here with us today. I have a watch that I can call and talk to my friends, and while I don't have that really cool sci-fi flip communicator to call someone or command, I used to. My rectangular hunk of glass, metal, and assorted chemicals is able to do that at a push of a button. Calling is just one of the many things that device does. Today, those old flip phones are considered passé, maybe even uncool. And this device, or these devices, my phone and my watch, if I want to call it a phone, together serve as a camera, recorder, and map. It can, even with the right programming, identify living organisms as I explore strange and new areas of this planet where folks have traveled before. And I am still not done talking about these powerful devices that have transformed our world. For those non-Star Trek fans, I am describing the classic tricorder. Not only do they monitor and record where I am and what I've been doing, and they also help me in various ways, they also monitor various body functions. Yes, we have again moved beyond what was only dreamed of 50 plus years ago for the 23rd century, where they were using two devices that I have only one for. I just hope we did not lose a satellite in 2002 that will return 250 years later to eradicate us on this blue marble floating in the cosmos. But even with all this change, things seem to remain the same. Why is that? We have the unhoused, vitriol, war, and other forms of violence that surround us. Haven't we made some inroads in improving these conditions? No. For as long as people continue to make the active choice to be selfish, not provide for others, we will not change, and we will continue to suffer these problems and many more. If we can become part of the process, then the decisions we make can lead to other realities where there will be less suffering. Those that dream lead to creation of change. One of my favorite composers is Aaron Copland. And I've known his music from a young age. Fanfare for the Common Man has an awesome horn part. I'm a horn player, so I love great horn parts. Another piece reminds me of a hoedown from the rodeo, that's the name of it. Puts me right into a large hall where I used to square dance. But one of my favorite themes I learned when I was very young, listening to Appalachian Spring. Within that 25-minute piece, there's one of our hymns, the Shaker Melody. 'Tis a gift to be simple. Much has changed in me since I first heard it, but I have found the words still ring true for me today. Seek out the simple things. Don't be ashamed, because as you turn around dancing through life, as simple as you can, you will be right back where you began. Transformative, yet remaining the same. Like the seed we talked about in the gift box, through its process of transformation, it changes, yet remains the same. And while the seed does its transformation, it is part of that interconnected world, providing for living and non-living things. As it grows and changes, it holds onto the soil to prevent erosion, with the ask of the earth to remain in place. This little plant is a food source for its pollinators, to reward them for the service that the pollinator provides, and food for those beings that enjoy the plants and fruits, with the ask to spread their unchanging seeds. The one thing the plant provides is medicine without an ask, and it provides it to living organisms. There are some very complex chemicals created in the plant that can have some effect on the bodies of their organisms. What I am describing is not the classic Darwinian theory of survival of the fittest. It is a description of community evolution, growing, changing to become more interdependent, strengthening the web of interconnectedness. Now, the beauty of UUism is also our most difficult thing that we as humans have to do. We as a faith change. Our faith is inherently strong because of that change. It changes to meet the needs of the times. We admit our errors and improve with each new generation. The 1970s UU faith of my childhood is so much different than the UU faith we experience today. Back then, we had no sources or principles. We had no AL curriculum. We did have its precursor, About Your Sexuality. And much still remains the same. We meet on Sunday. I was always excited to go to Sunday school because it was in this old historic mansion, while the sanctuary was a mid-century modern glass building. And also, just like then, we still have coffee hour. I remember my mom and dad talking with friends over that strong smell of fresh-made coffee. I think that might have been why it's a part of me enjoying that ongoing love of the elixir. I think we may have lit our chalices, but I'm not quite sure on that. My memory's a little foggy on that. But what I also do remember is the wonderful Christmas Eve services and the always ever-present and sometimes annoying announcements. But much has changed since then. While our transformative power changes our faith, it also changes our own selves and further improves the world. That transformative ability relies on two things. First, it relies on our belief and interdependence, that interdependent web of all existence, where we acknowledge with humility our place in it. But that great web of life is in constant transformation. That calls us, as UUs, to adapt to this ever-changing world and be open to that change in our spirit and ethics. Our collective openness to change is fundamental to our heritage. It is never complete and never, ever perfect. Let's take a moment and consider how this congregation right here has changed. You may be a new member, but you've probably seen some changes just over the past few months. Those of you who've been members for years have seen many more changes. Thank you, elders, for hanging in there and to help make this place today. If this is your first time here, welcome. I encourage you to talk to any member or friend to find out what's changed in this place. Here's some food for thought to talk about during our beloved coffee hour. Have you had a minister serve for longer than 5 years? What did the church look like 5 years ago? How about 10 years ago? 20, 50? I think you'll find that this congregation has changed, yet it remains the same. A group of like-minded folks who meet to continue seeking out the meaning of life. Our congregation here is a lay-led congregation that I would argue is probably on the leading edge of our UU faith. We as a congregation are moving from that consumer model of church where we pay someone to serve as our minister to a citizen model, where each week you are asked in some way or another to help out around here. Yes, there have been some fits and starts as we have transitioned, yet each week I know that I feel a bit better about this place that I call my spiritual home. And these past 4 years have been very impactful to me. I am not the same person that I was in 2020. I have transformed. It may have been due to the pandemic, because it required so much of me personally, that I needed to seek out something more. And when I did, I found something called Church of the Larger Fellowship, which is another UU congregation made up of people who are worship remotely. And I found this course on the 6 sources. At the time, I had an inkling of what those 6 sources were, but I soon discovered it was not what I thought they were. There is so much more than just words in those sources. The sources are truly where we have our lenses to focus our view on the principles. It is where we make the active choice to do good, not because we are a fearing people, but because we are a people that value our direct experience, prophetic voices, and beliefs to create the change that leaves this world in a better place. As the old saying goes, nothing in life is certain except for death and taxes. But I would add one more to that duet to make it a trio. In life, transformation is certain. But Emerson said it better in his essay, Circles, about embracing the new in life. So we'll close out with that. In nature, every moment is new. The past is always swallowed and forgotten. The coming only is sacred. Nothing is secure but life, transition, the energizing spirit. No love can be bound by oath or covenant to secure it against a higher love. No truth so sublime, but it may be trivial tomorrow in the light of new thoughts. People wish to be settled. Only as far as they are unsettled is there any hope for them. It is through this transformation that each Sunday here at UUCLV that we are creating a beauty and awe that you can carry back to the start until we meet again. Change is everywhere. Embrace it, savor it, and live it.
Please rise in body or spirit for our closing song. It's 1017 in the teal hymnal called Building a New Way. Our call to action today is an invitation. The RE team has been getting ready for our spring programming and has selected the program Spirit and Practice. And this is an invitation for you to come into spaces with other members and friends and engage in ways that develop your personal spirituality through practice and ritual and community building, and think about what it means to be a spiritual individual in a spiritual community. The RE team has decided to facilitate this instead of in a lot of smaller intervals in 3 intensive Saturday afternoon sessions in the month of April. So we'll be coming together for Saturday afternoons, and there will be opportunities for a youth group here in person and an adult group here in person on Saturdays. And we'll also be offering this virtually on Monday evenings in the month of April. So if this makes anything feel bubbly and exciting inside of you, we want to know. Also, if you're interested in helping to support the facilitation of this, we want to know. If you are interested in facilitating, we'll give you all the curriculum and lots of support along the way. You won't be by yourself. But as was mentioned previously, to be a lay-led organization means we build it so that we can experience it. So if this is sparking joy for you, there's information in the flash, and the RE team, if you're on the RE team, will you raise your hand? any of these folks, you can come and talk to any of us and find out ways to sign up. We hope that you'll join us. Personal growth and communal growth is so critical as we practice becoming the people in the community that we want to be.
Today's benediction is by Jan Phillips. We are attendants at the wake of the old way, and each of us, through our actions, our thoughts, our work, and relationships, is midwifing a new world into existence. This is our destiny, our meaning, our purpose. And when we come to our days with this awareness, when we fully wake up to this tremendous privilege, when we sense the oak in the acorn of our beings, then we will have the energy to move mountains and shift the tides. It is an illusion that we are powerless. It is an illusion that someone else is responsible. It is an illusion that we cannot transcend these dualities and differences that are making a mockery of democracy. We are the people. This is our world.
And now join with me. We release that which is called with love and gratitude, and we extinguish the flame, but not our commitment to being a beacon in the desert. This burns brightly until we gather again.
As always, we have room for 3 announcements to be read at the end of our upcoming service. As Mark said, announcements are a really critical component to being a UU community coming together on Sunday mornings. If you want your announcement read, please email Irma by Thursday and she'll get it to the worship team to make sure that it's included. When you do that, please include the name of your event, the date and time, a contact name, and no more than a 30-word description. Today we have our newcomer chalice circle that's meeting in the library. If you are a newcomer or you want to meet some of the newcomers, please join us today. All are welcome. That will be starting at noon. The Las Vegas Men's Chorus is an LGBTQIA aligned group with the mission to strengthen our community and allies through musical performances. The chorus is performing their spring show entitled The British Are Coming today at 4 p.m. in Ham Hall on the UNLV campus. And I don't see Breton here today, but if you're interested in learning more about the chorus and getting involved in the chorus, you can reach out to them. We're also still looking for additional childcare support. A growing congregation, especially a multi-generational congregation, means we've got more kids, which means we want to have more support for loving on and educating our children. So if this is something that's interesting to you, Karen is in the back. You can chat with her, you can chat with any of the worship team. We're happy to give you some information about that too. There are always many more announcements and many more things happening in our community, so I encourage you to keep an eye on the flash, which is the email that comes out on Fridays or Saturdays, and then always everything is updated at our webpage, which is UUCLV.org. Thank you so much for being with us today. Please come next Sunday for a service by Margaret and myself. This one is going to be called Who is Good People? And excitingly, it's going to be followed by our new member welcome ceremony. We are welcoming 9 new members to our community next week. It's kind of hard to say that without getting teary. It's such a happy thing. It also is Easter Sunday and Trans Day of Visibility. So there will be lots for us to sit in and share with each other. So nice to be with you today. Go in peace.